past. Now you can look back at your past experiences and learn from them, but no one, like, this isn't boxing where it's like you're the champ until someone takes your belt away. No, this is football. Everyone starts off 0-0. And I think two mistakes that you could make is, resting on your laurels or looking too far ahead, right? Thinking too much about the past, or looking too far ahead. I mean, that's been our mindset since day one, has been be where your feet are, be focused on that, because nothing that we did is going to influence anything that we want to do in the future. So it is about the daily work.
Hey y'all, today it's Matt Rogers on the Honorable Mention podcast with OJ Spivey. Of course, we all, as usual, in the backstage, we got going. I'm like, we got to put it on wax. So let's just pick up where we left off stage, OJ. Of course, from the Philadelphia Tribune. I was saying to you off air, it's so incredible that for years, people in terms of how they're grading a quarterback will give people the credit for a passing first down, but not a rushing first down like a Jalen Hurts, and discount, the fact that he's rushing them in many instances, touchdowns, first downs, but efficiently passing the ball. And those types of quarterbacks always get overlooked. However, it's because the idea is, a quarterback like that's not going to win the Super Bowl. They can't win. And the quintessential quarterback, Jalen Hurts, did exactly that and outplayed Patrick Mahomes for the third time in a row. And people are still wrapping their minds around that. And that's where we were. I was like, you know what? This is such a good conversation. Let's just start the podcast there, OJ. So what share the people. Let's get into that.
Well, like you said, man, Jalen Hurts, he literally just threw a monkey wrench into all of what society has been taught or has been programmed, if you will, about what a quarterback should look like, how a quarterback should win. He put to bed all that stuff. I mean, there's always been more than one way to win Super Bowls. We've seen it. I mean, there's plenty of evidence because we're 59 Super Bowls in now. We've seen, championships won all types of ways, but there's still this element to where, okay, this quarterback has to throw for 400 yards. He has to throw the ball 40 to 45 times. It's a narrative, and you can no longer use that narrative with a straight face, because also too, they still can't figure out that, okay, how did he win, but my guy hasn't at this point. And as we talked about, it not only was his turn, if you will, he took his turn and ran with it. He got a turn again.
Get in line. You got to box out for the rebound. It's not like the ball doesn't just materialize into your hands. It's the same thing.
That's another thing. The fact that he got another turn defies all logic and history, which I've written about ad nauseum, which I've talked about ad nauseum. That's, that was my piece on his legacy, which was just starting when I wrote it, for day after the Super Bowl. So people are saying, okay, they just can't wrap around why hasn't Burrow won? Why hasn't Jackson won? Why hasn't Purdy won? Why hasn't Herbert won? Well, hell, he still has to win the playoff game first, but he put to bed all of that stuff. And another thing that I wrote was, okay, for the longest time, people are still trying to, put these parables in that, okay, he is compared to this person, on this list or that list, what have you. I said, now they're compared to him because he's the guy that got it done. I mean, who cares whether he has a team or supposedly has a stacked team?
Did Troy Aikman not have a team?
Yeah, I mean, well, if this team
Dan
was
Marino,
stacked,
we're gonna act like
why were they still the underdogs in the Super Bowl? Stacked teams are not underdogs in Super Bowls. So that goes to show you that the odds makers still favored Patrick Mahomes, even
and
when they were
people
up
want to
17
act
nothing.
like Saquon ran for 200 in the Super Bowl. Nobody wants to actually reckon with the reality that the exact narrative that they're pushing for week 1 of the NFL season, the exact narrative that they pushed week 21, when it was like, if you shut down Saquon and you key in on Jalen and make him drop back, and what? I mean,
It's all
short of
tired.
the fumble 6 in the first Super Bowl, he played an almost perfect game in that game.
And
When he
people
needs
still bring
to, he
that
can
up,
do
by
it.
the way, which I think is insane. They also won different ways. I mean, you look at the 90 or 95 points they scored in 95 points they scored in the Super Bowl and the championship game combined. Those were two different games.
Yes.
Yes, they shut down Saquon in the Super Bowl, and Jalen stepped up, right? Along with the defense. You go back to the championship game against the Washington Commanders. Both Saquon and Jalen torched the Commanders. So, I mean, it goes to show you that they can win all types of ways. And even with the elements against the Rams and Green Bay, where none of that stuff was pretty. They still covered against the Packers. And I believe they still covered against the Rams. Correct me if I'm wrong or close to it. As close and nerve-wracking as that was, so
that was as close as anybody got to them, in fact.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the elements actually helped the Rams more so.
Absolutely.
Which is another conversation for another day. But just getting back to your original point, I mean, people are just still trying. They're still grasping at straws. They're still. It's
We're living through an era, folks.
I don't even engage anymore.
It's a thing like OJ. I mean, I've had the honor of having you on for years now. Years. Like we've actually been doing these podcasts through an era, and it's not just 1 or 2 years of this guy playing a style and winning always more than half of the games. More than half of the games. Getting his team to the playoffs. Worst case scenario, he loses in the first round to the Buccaneers. Those are the bad years. The other years, you're
bad being
11-6,
used loosely, right? So
11-6, first round of the playoffs, you're out,
and wanted to run him out of town. Actually, some people, it's
or you go to the Super Bowl and he plays one of the best games in Super Bowl history. 2 times. But I mean, combine what you cannot take away a part of his game. It's ridiculous to say, they make these graphics and they only put on his passing statistics, and that's just not how football is actually played.
It's an incomplete story. Again, it's a story that it's a picture that they want to paint and still try to say, again, even though he's proved it, that, okay, he won his way. But again, he has a track record of winning multiple ways. I mean, it's the true essence of what you really want in a quarterback. Okay, they're shutting down Barkley this week. I need my guy to throw. Okay, we have a cannon in Barkley. Let's run him 25 times. Let's run him 30 times. And then you have a calculated risk throwing the football. I mean, listen, take A.J. Brown, right? He's a 3-time All-Pro, all right? He's had 3 1,000-yard seasons as an Eagle. Every season as an Eagle, 3 All-Pros. Who's throwing him the football? I mean, you can
he didn't have 1,000 yards before. I don't think he had a 1,000-yard season before he came to Philly. I could
maybe one or maybe one or so, or maybe not. But I do know that He's had 1,000 yards all 3 seasons, and he's been a 3-time All-Pro.
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
got an extension.
I was wrong. He had 1,000. So his first season, for the listeners, just to fact check myself, he had 1,051. Second season, he had 1,075. He had 1,496 in his first year as an Eagle, 1,456 in his second season. Last year, he still surpassed all of his receiving yards from Tennessee. Any years he was in Tennessee.
Yeah. So I mean, you look at the stats, you look at, okay, oh yeah, they're ranked 28th, 29th, or whatever. But I mean, in this day and age, people don't read, people don't go in between the numbers. I mean, they do if they wanted to, you know, mold their argument that way. But who's throwing on the football? I mean, Jalen got AJ Brown paid. He got offensive coordinators paid.
I mean, are they crossing when you watch the team that plays in Philadelphia with the green helmets, and you just watching football? Do they get over those yellow lines that they put on the TV, and do they get it over the goal lines? There's a lot of that, and
yeah,
I mean, yeah. But I mean, hell or high water. I thought that's what the game was about. I didn't think the game was about how do you look on NFL Network dropping back with the cones and crap. You know, or, you know, with the cars driving by and the red, jersey on. I didn't think the red jersey crap was really what mattered. I thought it was getting it done. I'm trying to keep it, because it's absurd at this point. The man goes out and wins Super Bowl, and people still want to, not even, lists are coming out with him in the top 10 of quarterbacks. I'm not even trying to turn this whole thing into, is Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback? I'm saying, lists are coming out with him in the top 10, and people are still acting like this man doesn't even belong in that discussion. And it just defies logic.
Yeah. As you know, you've known me for years, man. And, I hate lists, right? So, but I mean, if you're going to shove lists down my face and everything, you're just an idiot if you just think he's not a top 5 quarterback. You're an idiot if you think he's not a top 3 quarterback. I mean, again, who you want to put up there, I don't give a damn, man. All I know is he won a Super Bowl, and all those guys, except for Mahomes, have not. Unless you want to go back a few years with Matthew Stafford or, 60-year-old Joe Flacco or, who else?
I checked, the Bills run the tush push. This vaunted thing, this unstoppable play that just only Philadelphia can run. Somehow Josh Allen was trying to run it in the game previous 2 weeks before the Eagles kicked the Chiefs' teeth in, and Josh Allen wasn't getting those first downs. How about that for the listeners?
I'll go one better, because now this narrative is where, okay, Jalen Hurts, Cam Newton, who's the better quarterback, and Cam will tell you so. Who's the better quarterback, right? But real quick, someone posted on Twitter. And they tried to make this frivolous argument that, oh yeah, Jalen can't run like this. They showed one of Cam's, rugged runs where, he trucks 2 people and gets a first down. It's probably about a 18-yard run, I guess. So I go back on top of it. I quoted with the 43-yard run he had against Rams.
Oh, in the playoffs?
In the playoff game, right.
You take it to the crib?
Took to the crib. I was there, seeing it up close. Were you at that game too?
No, I didn't have the... Ooh.
Okay, all right. Now I was trying to remember like all the games that we were there in the same at the same time.
To be at the same
time. Yeah, to see it up front, and I saw it after he broke the second tackle. I said he's going to score. Like you said, you're going back initially to what you're saying, tush push touchdowns as opposed to it's not a real running touchdown.
What?
Are we going 6 to 1, half dozen the other, and once again? But I mean, it's just tired now, and it's almost like silly for us to even engage with it. So,
yeah. Last thing, last I checked, for the real people who like sports because they played it, they've sweat, they've bled, they've cried, they've had jubilation. It's about whether it looks pretty or not. Does the ball go in the hole? Does my bat hit the ball? Does my team get in the end zone? And by that measure, Jalen Hurts is an excellent player. And that's what matters to me.
And even his new offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, said this past week that all he cares about is winning. His head coach just said it. I asked Sirianni, all he cares about is winning. A.J. Brown, Lane Johnson, go on and on. These are all people who are well-liked, well-respected, and everything. I mean, if you're not going to believe it from those guys, I mean, you're just not going to believe it, and you just have your mind made up that, okay, this is what I want the narrative to be, no matter how ridiculous it sounds.
Well, when the Eagles score lots of points this season and lots of people are going to be disappointed about it, the defense will also be called upon to do some sort of what they did last year. Now, last year's Eagles defense is in that top echelon over the last, I would say, first 25 years of this new millennium football. It's a new age. They're one of the better defenses. Who knows if they're going to be quite that good? But some of that's going to be decided by who gets more snaps. So let's go through this kind of quick in terms of, but if you have more, we can certainly kind of draw this out if need be. Moro Jomo or Ty Robinson, who's going to get more snaps this season?
I would say just strictly from experience, Ujomo. And if you listen to Vic Fangio with his latest press conference, it seems like, Ty Robinson is still learning the defense.
Yeah.
And that's to be expected, as a mid-round pick, right? So I don't think that's anything to be concerned about. But, I already thought that, Ujomo was going to have the upper hand because look at how well he played last year and, in spot duty. And it seemed like he had even more snaps during the Super Bowl.
Later,
the Super Bowl and the rest of the playoff games.
Absolutely.
So I think they're in great hands with Jomu. I mean, one of the reasons why, of course, this always comes down to money. But I mean, I've watched Jomu for these last couple years, I guess, because was he year 3? I guess
year 3. I think you're right.
But I mean, he's just come along nicely, and for him to be a starting defensive tackle, I think he'll be just fine. Rotating with, I would guess it would just be Davis again. But yeah, he'll be just fine. I mean, you already have depth there. Whatever Ty Robinson can bring you this year, I think will be a bonus. Because they have to, stack the cabinet, once again. And I think it did a good job by picking up Robinson, but I wouldn't expect him to have much of an impact right now. But Ujomo, oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah, he's going to make plays this season. What about Adoree Jackson or Kelee Ringo? I heard I didn't love what I heard from Vic in terms of if I'm Adoree Jackson. You brought up what Vic Fangio was saying. I mean, how are you reading that one? Well, go ahead. You take this.
Again, I mean, this is, it could be a couple of things. It could be a matter of, him just coming in to camp, being a first-time Eagle, learning the defense. And, you always keep hearing that not everybody can play for Vic Fangio. We saw that with the Bryce Huff disaster, right? But going back to Ringo, I'd be really surprised if Ringo doesn't start at corner because they've been high on him ever since. And you look at the track record of spot duty, and he's played well. He's held his own. Yeah, and especially the times when Darius Slay last year would be injured. He kind of stepped right in for the most part. I mean, did he get beat a couple times? Yes. I mean, but Slay got beat a couple times too. But they're really high on Ringo. There's another Georgia guy. They love him in that locker room. He loves being here. He wants to learn. And you just knew when, Slay went out the door where they didn't re-sign Slay, that he was going to be the next guy up. And really, he has to be. But I'd be really shocked if he isn't. And, as much as Vic Fangio said, didn't have any, necessarily positive words for Dory Jackson. He said that Kelee Ringo's he's been okay. He's been good. So, but that's what I expected. So
yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting this year to see potentially if Kelee Ringo gets himself a pick six, we're in that same number as Asante Samuel. It'll be interesting, like the side by sides on that one with the 22.
yeah, that would be that would be pretty cool to see. But I think he's ready. I mean, could it be a bit of orientation, the first couple weeks? I think probably with the defense period, it could be. Because you do have more questions on that side of the ball than the offense. So, but I think again, on a personal level, I'm very confident with Kelee Ringo, and I believe the Eagles are too. It's really his job to lose.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Mukuba's out right now, so he kind of sent his body set him back just a couple of days. What are you thinking about between Mukuba or Sidney Brown?
I mean, it's you have a first round pick, right? So, well, no, he's not first. I'm kind of backtracking. So yeah, so he's a high round pick.
Yes.
So he's almost expected to start. I don't necessarily see Sidney Brown as a starter. Not saying that he can't or won't.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, I don't necessarily envision him as being a starter. Because I'm still a little. I want to see him. I'll be getting to camp in the next few days, finally. But I really want to see him work. I really want to see his coverage skills. I mean, I know he's
a bit aggressive. Yeah,
I know he can run through a brick wall. I know he can, body slam, even go, fist to fist with people. And he's a fun guy. Great interview, by the way, too.
Absolutely.
But I think Mukuba has to be the guy for number one where you picked him, and number one because of his versatility and where he, what he can do. I think that's literally what they drafted him for. He is the de facto replacement for C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Absolutely.
But we know what you have seen, and I don't know if they're just maybe smoke screening a little bit, or because Mukuba's been out, or maybe there's some injury or here or there. With Cooper DeJean, getting some snaps at safety. I really would not want that.
Yeah, because you got to come downhill. It's just taking too much risk.
No, not just that, Matt. It's just that you're really hurting two positions because he is so damn valuable as a slot corner. Yeah. I mean, you talk about lists. Okay, let's list the guys at slot corner in the National Football League.
Not a very long list before you say Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, it should not go more than
2, 3, 4.
I mean, can the average person ask, okay, who is the best slot corner in the league?
A lot of people might just say that if it's like an NFL like Family Feud.
Yeah,
Cooper DeJean's getting a lot of those votes.
Yeah, exactly. And he's so damn valuable. I mean, There's no better film than watching in the Super Bowl, but I mean, just all the games. You just go back to that Baltimore game, how he
turned that season around with that tackle for a loss in the Cincinnati Bengals game, late in the game.
Right.
That team completely took off to a different height.
A slot corner that can tackle? Are you kidding me? He can cover and he can tackle and he can take the ball away. So, but imagine, okay, you ask yourself, if he does play snaps to safety, who's going to be that slot corner? That's even the bigger question. So that's why it has to be Mukuba at safety.
Well, I think if they're doing I think the thought, I'm just in my mind, I think it's 4-3. If they go 4-3, they'll put him back at safety, take one of the other corners off the field.
Yeah, how often will they do that though?
First down, but
even if offenses go base,
Yeah.
Eagles don't come out of that a lot.
No. They're nickel base, really, anyways. So
Yeah, they're basically a nickel type defense. And all these 400-yard passers, right? They require you
why you going
to be in that
4-3?
defense.
Yeah, that's a lot of Dean and Trot Jr. or Jihad Campbell, covering and yeah.
So that's why I say it has to be Mukuba, because I don't think the Eagles can afford to have DeJean play anywhere else. Why would you want to put him anywhere else?
I agree with you. Yeah. All right. Well, how about Josh Uche or Azeez Ojulari? Can I go first on this one?
Sure.
I'm not sure either one of these guys make the team. Just before we even give an answer, I would say there's a third answer: is both have 0.
Well, that lets you know that that's a toss-up, because we have the same line of thinking, so where I think it's a toss-up, man. I mean, I think Uche has, if I recall, I think he's had a couple good camp days, but not anything that stands out. Again, do you like politics, man? I mean, do you give the edge to the incumbent in traditional politics? Not an incumbent, but as far as a veteran, do you give the edge to the veteran?
Yeah. Ooh, being Uche.
He didn't get reelected in his last stint, or his last.
But the name. But you know what you get.
Right. Jeff Johnson, distinguished gentleman, right?
Know the problems you're gonna have. At least you can gameplay. Everybody can,
Thomas Jefferson Johnson, was that Ernie Murphy's name, a distinguished gentleman?
Oh,
the name
yes. The name yes. From the van.
That's a great movie, by the way.
Oh yeah.
As far as
Jeff
like
Johnson.
anybody who wants to know, I mean, politics is like, okay, what is politics now? But if you want a crash course on how
what it was,
how the House works and how politics works, and like the little bit of dirty games and stuff too, Distinguished Gentleman, I think it's a phenomenal movie. It's actually underrated, but I digress.
That's the great segue. Not segue, but detour for folks. That would definitely check that out after you finish listening to the rest of this. But I think, to answer your question though about the incumbent versus the newcomer, in this case, I think that this electorate, being Howie Roseman, they're predisposed to wanting to elect that, kind of radical, take the upside.
That's true.
He's kind of wired.
Control. Right. Yeah. Yep. Low risk, high reward. You took a fly on Uche because, you have to fill the roster in some aspects. And what I love about Vic Fangio, though, real quick, his press conferences are just phenomenal.
So truthful. Goodness.
Yeah, he's no filter. He's no filter. And I love how he F's with the media. Yeah. That's what I love the most. And when I tell you, man, times where I'm in the press between Jalen Hurts, between Vic Fangio, who, even though Fangio gives you a lot, he does not give in. He tells you straight. And I love how he tells you how, in really like the nicest way possible. I don't say the nicest way possible, but probably in the most subtle way possible. You don't know what you're talking about. The other day, when someone is bringing up, and I respect all these guys, of course. But somebody's bringing up Quinyon Mitchell. It says, okay, second year it is, Quinyon this one. And they bring up Darius Slay, and it says, well, what's Slay got to do with it?
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, he's telling you, they're trying to tell him, okay, in this defense, we're not doing that. It's not this defense, it's this. So it's phenomenal, man.
I mean, he got the knowledge that he could learn how to be a pro for a year from Slay. It really is kind of, to your point, it's irrelevant because corner is to a degree, it's an individual. It's not like you're dependent on the other opposite side outside corner to really. I guess you need more so like a synergy with your outside backer or your slot corner or your safety. But the other corner on the other side, what the hell were you even talking about, really? Other than
of course you're naturally going to learn, in the DB room,
yes,
and different things and stuff. But I mean, that's water under the bridge now. I mean, he's a veteran now, so and should have been a Pro Bowler. He wasn't, but yeah, he'll be fine. But yeah,
he's gonna be putting people in, bringing new inmates. Yeah, I don't even want to refer to people like that, but Yanamo Bay is open. It open.
Oh yeah,
open for business this season.
Oh yeah, listen. They may have built an addition this year. We'll see.
So for me, OJ. If I was in the Howie's position, I'm kind of predisposed when I see a big wide receiver like that, like Johnny Wilson. I take him, maybe give him a good red shirt year, like a Darren Waller kind of frame, but put some muscle on him, train him up to learn how to run block. I always thought Johnny Wilson projected out as a tight end. Now it seems like he's having a rough season. He had a rough camp. He was having a rough season, disappointing in my eyes in many times. Now we see this new guy, Elijah cooking. I mean, is Johnny really going to make the team? If they put him on practice squad, does he make it through? Does he stick on practice squad? What's going on with Johnny?
Yeah, what you just explained, Matt, I thought they should have did that last year. I thought they should have made him a tight end last season. I mean, it's kind of tough though, because when you see him up close, I mean, he's a lengthy. Big dude, very tall but lengthy.
Yeah.
As you mentioned. So after seeing him up close, I'm not sure if that's possible. But if you're going to do it, last year would have been the year to do it. And they may have to just go back on the street to get another wide receiver, to get maybe a fourth, fifth wide receiver, or whoever they like on their practice squad. Hopefully it won't matter as much, because I expect a whole lot from Dotson this year.
Absolutely.
Having an entire off season and an entire camp. With Jalen Hurts and the rest of the offense. And you saw how he came on at the end of last year. He had some clutch catches in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So I expect a whole lot more from him. And people are talking about passing and all. And again, if they're forced to pass, I think Dotson's going to be a huge part of that, because one thing that he showed you is that he can get downfield. He can be the guy one-on-one.
But I do care about this wide receiver 4 position because AJ, it's fine. They miss a game. Devontae miss a game, but then you're putting Jhoan, you're getting him outside of his position that he's integrating himself in, that slot third position, and you're putting Johnny to run outside routes. And he just flat out, I'm not breaking any news. I'm really not even trying to degrade the guy, but he's not creating separation. I'm not breaking anything that people who are watching the football game. The corner is on him like his jersey.
Yeah. I mean, another thing that I noticed with Wilson too, and then, he's a nice guy. Good interview and everything. Always kind to the media and all, but I mean, it also looks like he has hands of stone.
Yeah, because if you're gonna be that, you got to Larry Fitzgerald, or you got to just snatch it away from guys just aggressively. I don't know how much more I want to talk about Johnny, because a name just came to mind. I don't know if I want to do it to him. It was a guy. If you like the Eagles, I'm not going to do it to him. It was a guy in an umbrella on the sideline, Eagles practice. Google it. But you're giving me shades. And if you're listening, Johnny, this gets to you, prove me wrong. And I will eat the words and say I'm happily wrong, but
yeah,
he's
I mean,
going in the
I think they're
direction of
gonna.
number 19.
I think they're still going to work with him, and he still may be on the team and everything. But it's probably not out the realm of possibility. If they, if he may not make the team. But again, what is your alternative? So, are they going to have to go back on the street and get, and pick up a trade for Jhoan Dotson type
Well,
of
they
guy?
like Terrace Marshall. You think that maybe that'll be he could take that job from him?
Perhaps, but I mean, has he stood out so far?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully you don't get to that point. But I understand your concern.
Absolutely. Yes, talking about the tight end room, maybe if they worked on Wilson last year, we'd be having a different conversation. But once again, we're rolling into the season. I think Dallas Goedert is in the top echelon of tight ends. To be completely honest about it, I think it's a shallow position in terms of the top tier talent. But in terms of the talent, he is right in that, if not elite group, he's in that next group. However, he misses a few games every year. And so I'm worried about Calcaterra. Can Calcaterra, Kylan Granson, if they need to catch 45, 50 balls this year, OJ, are you feeling that? Or
ooh, that's pretty steep. 45, 50 ball. That's steep.
Both.
Yeah. I mean, Calcaterra has been serviceable. I mean, he has the trust of Jalen. I mean, that's for sure. Jalen's been quite vocal about that last year when Goddard was out, and Calcaterra has made, a few clutch catches here and there. I mean, he's not going to beat anybody one-on-one in the slot. He's not going to, Travis Kelce you or anything of that nature. He's not the next coming of Travis Kelce,
No.
but he will catch the ball. I mean, if you're going, we were just talking about it. I mean, if you're not going to get any separation, catch the ball. And Calcaterra does that. I'm not saying that they don't need an upgrade or they can't use an upgrade. I really wanted them to draft a tight end last season. I mean, in this past draft, they didn't. But Calcaterra's serviceable. But again, also, Matt, you also have to look at this team is well stacked to where you will not be relying much on Calcaterra. You will not be relying much on Johnny Wilson.
Ideally,
but it hasn't been the case, right? I mean, Calcaterra more so because, like you said, because of Goddard's injury history. But again, he catches the ball.
Yeah,
I mean, he has moved the chains for the Eagles.
Yes.
So that's the truth. But we're not going to have him, run down the seams and break tackles like Goddard would, or thread the needle like Vic used to go to Brent Sullick. That's just not going to happen. But I guess it wasn't a guarantee that Goddard was going to be back, right?
Right.
Because they did try to move him or maybe try to trade him. He reworked his deal, reworked his contract. And that probably would have forced them to get a tight end. But it doesn't seem like it's a position that they value as much.
No, I get the same sense. I don't. Thus far, it has not hurt, but I thought it would be interesting. It's way too late, but this is just a thought experiment. I thought that they could probably, seeing how all these more top flight wide receivers were going for third, fourth, fifth, even pretty good wide receivers going for fourth, fifth round picks. I thought that they could get Kyle Pitts from Atlanta, maybe run a
that's the guy who I want to maybe to bring him home because I think he'd be quite nice in this offense.
And not have too much expectation, like we're talking about Calcaterra, Granson, bring a 2 tight end set out, especially up on the goal line
But it makes sense though that Pitts is still in Atlanta because I believe it was a contract year for him,
Yeah.
But he now has to be Michael Penix's safety net,
Security ball.
so to speak.
It's a
So
show and prove year for him, though. And
right.
sometimes people just need a change of scenery. I was thinking that would be a good thing too. Get him for like a fourth, but whatever. I still trust
I think
Howie.
I think if it wasn't with the Penix factor, if they still was running Cousins out there, I think that would have been more of a possibility.
Oh, they have hope. So they're not just selling. They're not okay. I hear you.
Yeah, I'm high on Penix, by the way, because I think he can be their franchise quarterback. And what he needed, they should have Atlanta should have went to him sooner.
Absolutely.
And they might have gone down the wire for that division.
Yes, with the Bucks.
But
yeah,
Penix, a lot like I mentioned Dotson. It's just for a lot of players, man. They just need a full camp to get familiar with the offense. And you just saw, I think it was that Monday night game against Washington, where they he kind of went toe to toe with Jalen Daniels.
that was like week 15, 16. It was late.
The timing was just off.
Yeah.
You saw the potential, the timing was just off. I mean, it's almost like what you look at with Jalen in his early days.
Yep.
But you see when they got AJ Brown, that timing was there from the start.
Yep. It's always interesting to see a left-handed. That's the only thing, but it's not that he's not accurate or anything. It does take an adjustment. And having played wide receiver, it is different. But I mean, he's.
Yeah, I remember Jerry Rice talked extensively about that when Steve Young took over for Joe Montana, and he really said it's not anything that I had thought of because I'm left-handed.
Okay.
And it does spin a different way. I mean, it's almost like you're being a left-handed pitcher. That's why it's hard for a big league hitter to hit a good lefty, because the spin, the velocity, the trajectory of the pitch. I mean, fastball is one thing. Just imagine a slider.
Yeah.
Or any type of breaker ball. They have sweepers now. Everything is the same thing. It's the timing, how the ball spins, how it hits your hands, how the seams are. Will the seams hit your hand a different way with a right-handed quarterback as opposed to a lefty? So
where your hots are, right? Or where your blind spot is, because it's going to be over your right. So your hot might need to be coming off your right as the way you design your offense.
You got to have a great right tackle as opposed to a left tackle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's just it takes a full camp will do him well. I agree with you. I think Michael Penix is going to have a good season. To kind of you were hitting on what the last thing I was going to ask you about, because we are recording as the Philadelphia Phillies pick up Jhoan Duran, good closer. Do you think that finally gives that bullpen a breath of fresh air and maybe gives them some consistency? Some nights they play. I don't want to say they're not a good bullpen, because on some nights they come and shut it down. And then on other nights it just bad news bears. So do you think it takes it to another level of consistency?
Yeah, they sell bad news bears jerseys, by the way. I saw it online. It was actually saw a guy. What was that last Phillies game I attended? Guy had a bad news bears jersey on. I wanted to ask him, say, where'd you get that jersey from? And of course I see it pop up on my timeline or whatever. Anyhow, no, I think Duran was a good pickup. It stabilizes their bullpen. You mentioned it. Some nights they're good, some nights they're not so good. So they're just kind of finally coming around. I think Kerkering has been their most consistent bullpen arm. So that probably sets the deck to where he can be perhaps
setup
de facto setup man. And then you have Duran there now, because he's going to stabilize that, because number one, okay, teams, baseball clubs, the pitching staff, they have to know their role, right?
Yep.
Who is the closer? Say, I'm the closer, I'm the setup guy, I'm the long guy. I know baseball with analytics and everything is all over the place now. But
and Rob he doesn't set it so far. Or am I viewing that?
Well, it's probably a
differently
tough
than
job
you?
for him. I mean, in
Yeah.
fairness, I know Rob Thompson gets the brunt of criticism, but I mean, you have to look at what he has to work with, all right? But finally
It's not great.
now, and
Yeah.
it's another good thing because people are saying right now that they give a steep price, Matt Abel, and the other prospect.
No, that's
Um,
fine. They can have them.
yeah,
I mean, not like
so
they're bad players, but for what you're getting,
for Duran, oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I thought that was peanuts. I mean,
yeah,
that's no disrespect to Abel and the others.
yeah.
So, because I
But
mean,
I
because the
thought we were gonna have
first
to give up Crawford or somebody like that to get some
right,
serious relief
right.
help.
So, um, he stabilizes that bullpen, and then you have the bonus to where he's going to be here for, uh, you know,
At least 26, they said, through 26
27,
season. Yeah, yeah. I
27.
think they have an option. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
but I believe that by that point he's eligible for arbitration, but I hate
yeah.
the word control, but he's still literally under contract through 2027.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
so
and players almost
that's
always win
interesting.
arbitration, so he'll be here.
They win the money. That's all that means. So they just get more money.
Yeah, it says, okay, we feel like you're worth this amount of money. They come back, no, I deserve a raise. And then, the arbitrator 9 out of 10 times favors the player. So assuming there's no lockout. I know that's another topic for another show, but assuming there's no lockout.
And Duran gets himself some jewelry that'll help him in the arbitration. I can
Oh,
assure him that.
absolutely. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, if he can shut it down and be lights out the rest of the season and in the playoffs, I
Sky's the
mean,
limit for this
they'll
team.
may give him a contract extension,
Mm-hmm. No,
like
I
they
mean,
like
really,
they gave to Sanchez. They said, okay, let's
absolutely.
lock him up now.
Because I don't think they're going to be able to. I love Ranger. I don't think they're going to be able to keep him. I think they'll have money to spend other place.
I think they should. I
I
mean,
hope they do. I'm ready to get my 55, but I'm not going to get the 55 just
the,
to have my heart broken.
I
To
mean,
have
it's the
to
luxury tax and
something else.
everything, but if you're trying to stabilize this pitching staff for years to come, I mean, I know you have Wheeler, you're locked into Nola for a few
Noah for
years. I
seven
know
more
people
years.
are maybe looking down. I mean, but he's hurt. He's hurt, so
Yep.
you can't say that's a bad
Yep.
thing. He's hurt, right? You have Sanchez. Um, I think is Lazardo. Is he on his last year of a deal? I
I
can't
don't know
remember.
Luzardo's situation.
Yeah. So you at least have Wheeler, you have Nola, and you have Sanchez, and you just have to figure out, who's going to be the other two. Is that going to be Painter? At the time that we're, doing this podcast episode, he's still a Philly. So,
Luzardo's on a 1-year deal right now with the Phils.
oh yeah.
1 year, $6 million.
So most likely he probably won't be back because he'll probably get more on the open market than what the
Yeah.
Phillies are maybe willing to afford.
So
But in
arbitration, yeah. So he has he avoided arbitration for this season coming up, and then he has arbitration again coming up. So we'll see.
yeah, I mean, ideally, I listen. It ain't my money. I will break the bank to
There's
keep
no
both
cap.
Sanchez and Schwarber. Yeah, another topic as well. But yeah, I will break the bank to keep both Schwarber and Suarez because he's been consistent. One thing people have to understand with pitching, it says, okay, you're not going to be lights out every game, all right?
Yep.
You're not going to, knock everybody's socks off. You're going to have bad starts here and there. But are you consistent? Are you an innings eater? Okay.
Yep.
Are you a winning pitcher? Are you going to win more games than you lose? I mean, this day and age where, you go 5 and it's now, a quality start, and, you're up for a Cy Young if most of your starts are, just the minimum to be eligible for a win, and wins don't mean much as they
Yep.
did in years past. I
Absolutely.
mean, you never have enough pitching. You never have enough pitching. You never have enough quality pitching. And if you have a quality starter, and he's beyond that, he's a good starter.
Oh,
You,
yes.
you want to try your best to keep him. I know it's probably not realistic, money wise, but hey,
They got
I
3
would.
top of the line guys that seriously could be a third of the teams in the league's
And again,
ace.
a lefty. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't just want to give good lefties away. I mean,
And
right-handed
an
pitchers
excellent
are a
fielder.
dime a dozen. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing you want to keep in mind. You have 2 good lefties in Sanchez and Suarez. You just don't want to get those guys away, man.
You'll be looking for another one in a couple years. I hope you got somebody's here.
And they're not there. I can tell you, from little league to the major leagues, they are not hard to find. I mean, we'll be in a little league draft and we say, "Oh, left-handed pitcher." I mean, we'll always go to blows in a draft. Just know I want.
Wow.
Can I say a quick story?
Absolutely.
One year I coached Little League, right? He wasn't even a pitcher. He was a left-handed bat. I didn't have any left-handed bats, right? Good kid. Went to one of the great academic schools, middle schools in the city. He was, I believe, 12 years old at the time. I was trying to bring him back for a second year. He was not necessarily a good hitter, but I wanted that lefty in the lineup to just kind of, turn it around, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I call his mom and says, okay, like to have him back this year. But she turns me down. She says, no, I want him to concentrate on his books, science, all that kind of stuff. I was saying, great. I'm all for it.
That's wonderful.
So, week later, his father calls me. Says, we didn't get a call for my son coming back on the team.
Oh, wow.
So this became a dilemma. Yeah, so this became a dilemma. So it's like, sir, I don't want to get into the middle of things.
I'm not.
But I talked to his mother last week, and she does not want him to play baseball next week. When I tell you how fast he got off that phone, he didn't come back right away. So obviously the mother won.
Yes.
I don't even know if they were together or not, but
okay. There was the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing at the moment.
Literally. So when I tell you, I said, sir, I'm not trying to start an argument or start a riff or whatever. He said, I will call you back. So that's how valuable, that lesson learned, even from Little League. That's how valuable lefties are.
And you got 2, and then you got Wheeler and Nola. If Duran can lock it down in terms of the relief or closing, like you said, had defined roles. Let Orion and Strom eat up, some 7th and 8th.
He's your left. Yeah, he's your lefty. Strom is your lefty option. I forgot about him. But I mean, their pitching, I think, is just going to be fine for the most part now that they have a closer. It's just going to come down. I don't care who they get. If they get another bat off trade deadline, everything, it has to be Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Bone when he gets back. It has to be those guys. If those guys aren't consistent at the same time, none of this even matters.
I mean, it really, when the Phillies need you scheme it up that you get your team to a point where in important games you're within 1 or 2 runs and the top of your lineup is coming up. Harper, Turner, Schwarber, Harper. that's going to give you as good of a chance as in any lineup if they're right. And so if they're doing, like you said, if
they're all right all at the same time, which we have not seen, and you throw Castellanos in there, they all have to be in sync, man. Like I said, I don't care if they go get Quan, if they go get Cedric Mullins, if they try to solve their center field, it's still going to boil down to those core 4 to 5 guys.
On the last episode, when I was with Frank Close from 97.3 ESPN, I dropped that I thought that Duran was somebody who would be a good pickup. For y'all who will be listening after the trade deadline, I think Quan would be the right outfielder. Just drop him down in there, solidify that outfield. Let Marsh be the guy that comes and gets some pinch hit at bats. I think right now Marsh is playing well, but he's very streaky, and the streak's going another direction, and it's just inevitable.
This team is way too streaky, man. I mean, you can't really diagnose them as even streaky. It's consistent.
It's crazy. It's
Because
crazy.
streaky means that, okay, this guy's going to have a great month. Okay, he's off this month, but I know he's going to have a great month.
Harper's
right?
Streaky in that way, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Harper's a bit of a he's a bit of a wild card because he has had injury histories. We don't even know if how much the elbow still bother him, but it does look like he's finally coming around. But it's I'll say this: it's encouraging to see that his power is back.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was worried about more than anything else. Where's the power?
Last season, because he barely had 20 something last year. Yeah. It wasn't until late that he started really coming on and hitting it out of the park.
Right. So, I mean, that's encouraging. But again, I don't care what they do, man. It got to be those core guys that they're all making the big bucks. They're all, except for Schwarber and I guess Castellanos. They're all on long-term deals. They're on long-term deals. Turner, Harper, they have to come through. I mean, and I think fans and also media lose sight of that. There's so much emphasis on the trade deadline, and we've been talking about this for 3 years. Who they going to get? But what happens every year? I just wrote an article last week. Phillies need an alternate ending. Like my favorite DVDs.
Yep.
They have an alternate ending. It's a director's cut showing me something different. Showing me something that keeps my attention.
And that's kind of in sports, it's one of the worst places you can be is wake me up in the playoffs. That's how the process, I mean, and I'm kind of looking back on the process.
Right.
Sixers. I think the Sixers, kind of at this era, best days are behind them, and that was how it was kind of ending with the Harden and
it's mundane until you get to October. It's mundane until you get to mid-April in the NBA. I mean, thank God the Eagles aren't like that because we just be hell drop dead, I guess. But that's what it boils down to. What are these guys? How are these guys going to show up in October? And what's crazy, Matt? The pitching is not all that good in Major League Baseball. It really isn't. I mean, these pitchers throw a lot of junk, man. And if you're just going to go for that and you're not going to be disciplined, that says more about you than them.
Absolutely.
It's the old saying is don't get yourself out. I mean, this team has notoriously gotten themselves out way too much.
The Phillies third baseman is amazing at getting himself out, I will say. And hopefully he comes back and proves me wrong because he comes and has good streaks, but he is just he's the king of the 1 out double play, ground into double play.
and I think also too with Bohm, and I try not to be as hard on him as others. I just think we just have to Accept him for what he is. I mean, is he a singles hitter? I mean, it seems like he is maybe a singles and doubles hitter. And it's just not going to give you the consistent power that, most of us, the machismo fan, wants to see in their third baseman. Right? I get it. I'm old school. I'm a bit of a purist for the most part. Smith. Yeah. Yep. You're your big third baseman, and then the power at first base, and maybe one of your core outfielders and everything. I get that traditionally, but we just may have to accept the fact of the type of hitter that he is, and that's okay if you get power from the other guys.
I mean, it's that top three at the end of the day. That's make a great point. At the end of the day, it's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you all for listening once again. OJ and I always go down the different holes. I think you all do. The statistics tell me that you all do enjoy our conversation, so that's why we brought it to you. OJ, thank you for making time once again to come on and talk about the Phillies. And then the one question about the Phils, then we had our whole midlife crisis about the Phillies. Stated the very obvious that wake me up in October. But I'll see you again soon, and thank you all so much for listening. Please like and subscribe.
And that ball is crushed deep to right field. Forget about it. Onto the footing of Miller Lite Landing. A 2-run home run, and the Phillies lead it 4-0.